Okay, news first up from West Bengal as violence mars the Bengal Panchayat polls with 5 people left dead. Derek O'Brien of the Trinamool Congress has now tweeted justifying the poll violence. Mr. Derek O'Brien, in fact, has tweeted, and I quote, "To all quote-unquote newborn experts on Bengal Panchayat elections in state have a history. 400 killed in poll violence in the 1990s in the CPIM rule. 2003, 40 dead. Every death is a tragedy. Now closer to normal than earlier times. Yes, few dozen incidents, say 40 out of 58,000 booths. What's the percentage?" CPIM and the BJP are now so desperate that they are even ganging up with Maoists to kill, shoot, stab 3 Trinamool workers in different incidents in Bengal today, deliberately trying to foment trouble. Is this democracy? Panchayat election. All right. So that is the tweet coming in from Derek O'Brien, obviously targeting the opposition parties on the news of the violence that seems to have been unleashed by allegedly a few Trinamool Congress workers. Indrajit Kundu joins us for more. Indrajit, but first of all, let's put facts out. Who was responsible for setting the ballot boxes on fire? Who was behind the low-intensity blasts? How and who really are being targeted? Which are the candidates who have been threatened and intimidated at the various polling booths?
Well, Avantika, what are the facts on the ground? So far, we've seen 5 people, dying in these elections that have taken place for about 6 hours now since morning. And, there are 3 people from the opposition left, that is the CPIM. 3 people have died from that party, and 1 each from BJP and the Trinamool Congress. Now, the bigger narrative, of course, is how, violence continuously and repeatedly mars the entire political process here in West Bengal. And that's the biggest worry because,
Kindly stay on with me. I'll just come to you. Leader of the CPM, Mr. Sujan Chakrabarti, is also joining us on the broadcast, sir. Mr. Derek O'Brien has tweeted and, has justified the role of the state. He has taken clearly a swipe at the CPIM. He said to all newborn experts on Bengal Panchayat elections, there has been a history in the past as well with 400 killed in poll violence in the 1990s during the CPIM rule. In 2003, 40 were dead. Every death is a tragedy. And there is a lot more that Mr. O'Brien has written in the tweet. How do you respond?
See, what Mr. Derek O'Brien is telling is a blatant lie. His attitude reflects a barbaric approach that he or they have. You see, just at this moment, I am standing in the house of Mr. Debu Das and Usha Das of Kaddeep, South Chhattisgarh Parganas, the couple that were, what I can call, that were burnt alive yesterday. That was burnt alive yesterday. It's a roasted body. I'm just standing by that. Does Derek O'Brien or any of his party people, dare to even see what they and their team is doing? It cannot be. This is a blatant lie.
No, and they in fact refuse to even speak to the media to give out a justification for the violence that has been unleashed. They refuse to speak on the deaths that have been reported. But Mr. Derek O'Brien, sir, accusing the CPIM of colluding with the Maoists to kill, shoot and stab Trinamool workers as well.
Again, that is a blatant lie. Those whom were supported by them in the Jungle Mall and etc., that is the time when the left workers were killed, and those who killed them have been bribed by this government. It is a mutual benefit of Trinamool and the Maoists that everyone knows that using the Maoists, creating a situation, and thereby, after the government of AITC came, they have bribed the Maoist people. Now even Maoists are telling the same thing. Even now they have to accept that.
Okay.
That is a blatant lie, totally lie. I am very pitiable condition. I am standing in the house of Debu Das and Usha Das, who are burnt alive. What is the answer of Derek O'Brien? Let him shut down his mouth. Let him stop his mouth. 35% of the seats are uncontested. Is it democracy? and the butchery of democracy.
All right, all right. No, we would like to put those questions out to the Trinamool Congress as well. Mr. Chakraborty, thank you so much for your time. Violence marring the West Bengal Panchayat polls with the death toll going up to 5. A BJP worker in Murshidabad was killed in a crude bomb attack. A CPM leader, in fact, has also been killed in a similar attack. Now, there have been low-intensity blasts in the state. We're also hearing of crude bombs being hurled at cops. A Trinamool Congress worker has also been shot dead in South 24 Pargana, and earlier another TMC worker was attacked and tragically he too lost his hand. So Mr. O'Brien making a reference to those two incidents. Polling has now been temporarily cancelled at 3 booths in Murshidabad after the BJP and Trinamool Congress workers got into an altercation, and after the clash ballot papers were thrown into a nearby pond. BJP alleges that the TMC workers snatched the ballot boxes during the clash and they're the ones who dumped them into the pond. In Murshidabad, goons were spotted roaming around freely, openly brandishing guns. Congress has alleged that the men who had those guns belonged to the Trinamool Congress. Meanwhile, in North 24 Parganas, angry locals poured water into ballot boxes at a polling booth after they alleged that the booth was jammed. 2 CPM workers were killed in South 24 Pargana after their house was torched on Sunday. And Mr. Chakraborty, in fact, a short while ago was speaking on that particular incident, a very tragic incident of how 2 workers were killed after their house was set on fire. And the CPM alleges that it's the Trinamool Congress that's behind the violence that has been unleashed on the opposition parties, on the BJP, on the CPM candidates and their workers.
Where is the Chief Minister? I want to see the Chief Minister. She has acted like a Trinamool Netri, nothing like a... Is she still honing her prime ministerial skills? Is she doing that? Is she somewhere else talking about her prime ministerial ambitions while her country, while her state is burning? I think this is exactly why Article 356 has been formulated in the Constitution, and I definitely demand President's rule in Bengal.
जिस सशस्त्र बल की बात है उसके सामने बंदूक लेकर डरा धमका कर वोटिंग किया जा रहा है, पूरा खुलेआम वहाँ और छप्पा मारा जा रहा है. तो ये कोई वोट नहीं है, प्रहसन हो गया है. तो ये केवल आईवास हो रही है. चीफ मिनिस्टर भी बोलते हैं कि निष्पक्ष होगा, कमिश्नर बोलते हैं, लेकिन सारा बेकार है. तो एक तरफा लूट हो रही है. बिल्कुल जहां गड़बड़ हुआ है रिपोलिंग की जरूर मांग करेंगे हम, उसका रिपोर्ट हम मंगा रहे हैं.
Let me go straight across once again to my colleague Indrajit Kundu. And Indrajit, this is a complete state of lawlessness. I mean, absolute anarchy in West Bengal while the Panchayat polls are going on. I mean, shouldn't questions being asked to the State Election Commission on their state of preparedness? Why did they announce a single phase election when there was much opposition from the BJP, from the Congress and from the CPM? Were they not prepared to handle the Panchayat polls, and why didn't they ask for more deployment of forces? Because I'm also hearing that crude bombs are being hurled at the cops as well.
Well, Avantika, that's a very pertinent, point that you've raised. Why a single-phase elections? Initially, the West Bengal State Election Commission had announced a 3-phase elections, clearly citing that there were inadequate forces that were being given by the state government. So what happened that overnight the State Election Commission changed its stand and announced a single-phase election? And remember, there was a lot of fiasco over announcing the second, schedule of the polls, the single-phase polls, because the Election Commission was in a bind. It was trying to assess the situation on the ground. It took around 3 days to come to a conclusion, but yet it could not decide on the date. It was the state government which went ahead unilaterally and, in a sense, forced down the date of May 14th on the state government, on the State Election Commission, because the Trinamool Congress maintains that the elections must be completed before Ramzan begins, because they believe that during Ramzan they cannot allow this vote. So many would call it pandering to a certain community, but that's the stand of the ruling party. Now, therefore, the State Election Commission was in, it was in a spot of bother, because the entire machinery, the administration is all being, given by the state administration. It's happening as per state rules, state law, and law and order, of course, is a state subject. And this is
Absolutely.
exactly where the opposition came in and registered their protest.
Yes.
Moved court. There are several litigations that were pending before the court in several division benches. And in some of the division benches, the Election Commission did come in for a lot of flack for the kind of, preparedness that they were showing. There were questions being raised about the amount of security personnel they have.
Okay.
Remember the last, the last directive or judgment that came from the Calcutta High Court Chief Justice's bench was that there has to be a comparative analysis of the kind of violence that is taking place this year as against what happened in 2013. And compensation would be given. So remember, the High Court will also be monitoring this entire situation, and the court case is still pending.
So that's important that the Calcutta High Court is keeping a close watch on the developments on the ground. We leave it at that. Indrajit, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.